Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day so far. Today we are reacting to Desert Storm. Battleship USS Missouri comes under Iraqi anti-ship missile attack. This is the second to last video in this series. So yeah, if you guys have got any videos you'd like me to get into, let me know. Like series especially. I quite like doing the series, to be honest with you. So yeah, let me know down in the comments or send me a DM. I will get round to all your comments in that today. Yesterday was frantic, I can tell you something right now. First off, I had to go to the hospital for a spleen scan. That's something else they've sending me for. So that took forever. And then I came home and then we tried to film the first reaction as a family, and it was a complete and utter failure because Kat and I were so nervous. And then the second one that we finally managed to get through, I was sweating absolute buckets because I've never filmed in front of Kat before, so it was quite a strange experience. I was all self-conscious, and then she was self-conscious because she's obviously never filmed anything really. So yeah, it was quite a weird experience, but hopefully we get better and better. The lighting will improve. I know a few people mentioned the lighting. That will improve as well. So yeah, we're going to get around to, we'll sort it all out. But yeah, we're going to get into today's video. Like I said, this is the second to last one, so keep your recommendations coming in, and yeah, let's get into it.
On the 24th of January,
sorry, I have skipped to 1 minute 19 because the sponsorship was right at the beginning of the video.
a week into the air war of Desert Storm, two Iraqi Mirage F-1s take off from Al-Jarrah airfield armed with the proven and feared Exocet anti-ship missile, a weapon that has in the recent past severely damaged and sunk US Navy and Royal Navy warships. They head southeast towards the Persian Gulf. The Iraqi Air Force is going to try to do what it hasn't attempted thus far in this conflict, to sink a coalition warship. In November 1990, 2 months prior to this moment and during Desert Shield, the build-up of forces in Saudi Arabia prior to Desert Storm commencing, the US launches Operation Imminent Thunder, a dress rehearsal massed amphibious assault involving 20 vessels.
I have to give it to them. Those Iraqi guys, they didn't take it lying down, did they? I mean, they were getting completely demolished, and they still giving it a good try.
And 18,000 sailors and marines on Ras Al Ghar in Saudi Arabia. The 4th and 5th Marine Expeditionary Brigades then embark on 5 amphibious assault ships and remain in the Persian Gulf. Desert Storm begins on the 17th of January 1991 with the 5-week air campaign against Saddam's military. The coalition's naval forces conduct cruise missile strikes, anti-ship operations against the Iraqi Navy, anti-mine operations, and naval bombardments against Iraqi positions on the Kuwaiti coast. Given the press coverage of Imminent Thunder, and knowing that those amphibious troops are now massed just off the Kuwaiti coast, Iraqi divisions are deployed along the coastline to defend against the amphibious assaults they believe will come. This brings more Iraqi troops into range of naval bombardment, and weakens the Iraqi front line facing the coalition to the south. Of the approximately 100 combat vessels of the coalition naval forces, most are positioned in the Gulf, and Saddam knows that these vessels are doing untold damage to his forces in Kuwait. On the 24th of January, the flight path of the 2 Exocet-armed Iraqi Mirages is causing confusion for coalition air controllers. They're manoeuvring almost as if it was on purpose, right along the border between the area of responsibility of the US Air Force and the US Navy, and are now heading southeast along the Saudi coast. This has caused confusion, and now no US aircraft are in range to intercept them. At any moment, they will likely turn to port and make their attack against coalition warships in the Gulf. The aircraft are just minutes from a potential launch range. British hospital ship RFA Argus has positioned herself on the western side of the fleet, in order to receive helicopter casualty evacuations if required. She is likely the...
That's something that I've always wondered about. I mean, war's not a nice thing, isn't it? I think we can all agree there. But like these hospital ships, if you attack one of these things, you are twisted, man. So I'm hoping this doesn't go where I think it's going to go. Because, I mean, yeah, they technically still your enemy, but they wounded, you know? Let them bloody... heal in peace at least. Come on, play.
Mirage's target.
Thank you.
Guarding Argus is Type 22 frigate HMS Brazen, which has just detected the bandits. She has a problem though. Her crew have just discovered a fault in one of her Seawolf anti-aircraft missile launchers.
Oh, Jesus.
It's not clear whether she will be able to defend herself and the hospital ship at full efficiency. A young radio operator aboard HMS Brazen, Radio Operator 2nd Class Paul Charlton, is just 20 years old and is on his first
Flipping
ever
heck.
Navy deployment.
20.
He has no idea that mirages are moving in against his ship.
20.
And at this
When I was 20, well, I think I just arrived in England from South Africa. And I was just drinking and having fun. 20, and he's got that responsibility. I know, like a lot of the soldiers are young, but when you hear it out loud and what he's doing is insane. He's having to call it in.
At this moment, he receives a high priority radio message moving in and is on his first ever Navy deployment.
And it's his first
He has no
deployment.
idea that mirages are moving in against his ship. And at this moment, he receives a high priority radio message. Protocol demands that he hand delivers this message to the ship's operations room. 20-year-old radio operator second class Paul Charlton would, later in life, create a YouTube channel called The Mighty Jingles. Upon arriving at the ops room, he recalls the following.
An immediate priority signal, an immediate precedence signal, had come in that had to be rushed to the PWO, the Principal Warfare Officer, who was on duty in the ops room because we were at action stations. I didn't know why we were at action stations. I didn't know we were under direct attack. Walked into the ops room, immediately knew something was going on. Got rugby tackled by the ORS, the ops room supervisor, who was a chief radar operator, and told in no uncertain terms to not bother anybody for at least the next 5 minutes. So I just had to stand there and wait, and had a grandstand view of the ops room coming together in order to fight this threat. So yeah, they were close. They were really close. The thing is, the procedure because they were going for the Argus, the hospital ship, we were just in the way. Our response would have been to put...
The cowardly bastards were going to go for the hospital ship. I know, like, it's so wrong. I couldn't call that.
Intercept the missiles with Seawolf if we could, and if not, launch decoys and hope they went for the decoys, because if they didn't go for the decoys, we were going to have to take the hit. I tried to give this signal to the PWO and was immediately shoulder-charged by the ops room manager and told to leave him alone, don't interrupt, we're busy. And that was the precise moment when a pair of, I believe it was Saudi Arabian Air Force F-15 Eagles, intercepted these two burnt bandits when they were about 2 or 3 minutes outside of Exocet launch range. Jesus. So I was standing there in the ops room just watching all of this happen, and suddenly realizing, wow, this war suddenly got very exciting.
Exciting.
Anticipating that the Iraqis might also launch land-based anti-ship attacks against the coalition warships, the air campaign extends to include strikes against mobile launchers and storage facilities for Iraq's 50 to 70 Chinese-built HY-2 Seersucker land-based anti-ship missiles, a variant of the earlier Silkworm missile. Saddam has set up a storage facility inside a girls' school in Kuwait, correctly assuming that the coalition won't launch airstrikes against it. These images show the Seersucker missile.
Like, just hard, like, set it up in a girls' school as well. Like, any school is horrible, but I can't imagine my little girl. Okay, maybe there was no students there, but he knows that no one's going to bomb, none of the coalition are going to bomb a school. Flipping heck. Cowardly bastard. That
missiles on trolleys in the school corridors. By the 20th of February, coalition intelligence believes that all launchers have been destroyed, along with most of the missiles in theatre. Unfortunately, this isn't the case. At 4:52 AM on the 25th of February, an A-6 intruder is flying on a bombing sortie over Kuwait and Iraq. The crew spots 2 plumes of smoke as 2 land-based anti-ship missiles are launched out into the Persian Gulf. The first crashes into the sea immediately, but the second levels out and makes its way towards its target, a battleship that first served in World War II, the USS Missouri. The missile travels at just under the speed of sound, but at a relatively high sea-skimming altitude of between 400 and 700 feet. The A-6 that spotted the launch transmits a warning to US Naval Forces Central Command, but this hasn't been forwarded to the group in time. The Missouri is escorted by US Navy frigate USS Jarrett and minesweeper USS Avenger, and British Royal Navy destroyer HMS Gloucester, frigate HMS London, and minesweeper HMS Cattistock. Gloucester is the first to detect an incoming contact by radar at 21 nautical miles range, inside a designated air lane for coalition aircraft returning home after hitting targets in Iraq and Kuwait. She executes a snap turn to starboard to unveil her Sea Dart anti-air missiles near her bow. Her crew are under pressure to defend the surface group, but also to prevent a potential friendly fire incident. 43 seconds after the contact was first spotted, the crew of Gloucester correctly classify the contact as an incoming anti-ship missile, and 2 Sea Darts are launched. As the Sea Darts are on their way, the seersucker is visually spotted by lookouts on Missouri.
Oh God, they can actually see
She
it.
dispenses chaff countermeasures into the sky around her, attempting to confuse the enemy missile's radar, and switches her Phalanx close-in weapon systems to auto-engage.
Come on, hit it.
Just 4 nautical miles away, Gloucester's Sea Darts arrive and destroy the missile mid-flight. Missouri's Phalanx never opens fire,
That's insane.
possibly because it's...
That is insane. How the hell does... I tell you, us as humans, not me, I've never really invented anything brilliant or so freaking clever, but damn,
radars were
how the
being
hell did it
confused
hit
by
it?
her own chaff, all because the seersucker hadn't achieved a good lock and appeared to be missing astern of her. The entire defensive engagement, from detection to classification and successful interception, has taken 89 seconds. The A-6, which had spotted the missile launch, attacks the launcher with cluster bombs. The following morning of the 25th of February, further air operations are conducted to find and destroy seersucker launchers. HMS Gloucester is replaced by Falklands War veteran Type 42 destroyer HMS Exeter, and in the afternoon, the surface group is in the same position with Missouri conducting coastal bombardments. Exeter receives a radio report from minesweeper HMS Atherstone that she's visually spotted a plume of smoke near the coast to their west. Her crew don't know for sure what it was, but the plume would be consistent with another seersucker launch against the surface group. Exeter alerts the other ships in the group that another potential missile could be inbound. The observed smoke was actually from the detonation of a Kuwaiti oil well near the coast by Iraqi forces, but the surface group don't know this and must treat the threat of an incoming missile very seriously. This time, frigate USS Jarrett is quite close to Missouri, at just 2 to 3 nautical miles. Both switch their Phalanx systems into auto-engage mode. Missouri begins to launch chaff pods into the air around her, again to confuse the supposed incoming weapons radar seeker. However, as the chaff pods explode above her,
Chaff
dispensing
pods.
thousands of metal strips
I need to look that up, because I've never heard of chaff pods before.
into the air, USS Jarrett's Phalanx system automatically classifies the chaff as a target. The gun slews to starboard and fires a 220 round burst of 20mm fire into the chaff cloud just above the Missouri.
Flipping heck.
4 of these rounds hit the Missouri herself, 2 of which penetrate lightly armoured areas of the ship, but luckily no casualties are suffered. A second chaff cloud explodes above her, and again Jarrett's Phalanx opens fire on it, but this time is manually shut off by an alert sailor. The events shown here are the only attempts by
Technology
the
fails
Iraqi military
sometimes, I
to
suppose.
directly attack coalition warships in the Gulf. The more continuous threat was posed by Iraqi naval mines, an obstacle that would have made an amphibious assault on the Kuwaiti coast perilous. No such assault was attempted in the end, but General Norman Schwarzkopf would later say he had every intention of conducting amphibious operations if they became necessary, and that he was glad that Saddam feared such a possibility enough to concentrate his forces inside Kuwait, allowing for the ease of the ground forces left hook north and east to cut them off when the ground campaign commences.
Yeah, I think old Saddam was... He was outplayed, wasn't he? Like, okay, he was outgunned for sure, but like, I think he was really, really outplayed by that general. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. We will get to the final part probably early next week. But like I say, if you've got any other recommendations or suggestions, please let me know. You have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.